My mother won't come to our wedding because she has a yoga retreat. Now, she asking we change the date. My fiancé and I recently got engaged, and when looking at dates we realized our anniversary falls on a Saturday this year. Perfect, right? We immediately start planning because it's approximately 9 months out and we have to move quick to pull a wedding together. We told everyone the potential date this weekend and all seemed well. Monday I get a phone call from my father. He insists that I move the date because my mother has a yoga retreat that weekend. I tell him that this date means a lot to me and I would prefer to keep it if there is any way to move the retreat. There is, but it's expensive. I offer to pay for this change out of my wedding budget, essentially having the amount that I can spend on the most important event of my life. Yesterday I was told that they would not be taking my offer to pay to move the retreat and that we're expected to move the wedding instead. I haven't put money on my venue yet, so they think I should be fine with giving up the chance to marry on a date that means a lot to me. It became a massive fight, and now my parents and I aren't speaking. My father accused me of caring about a date more than I care about my mother. I told him that it felt as though they were choosing yoga over their own daughter. Too long didn't read wedding falls on the same day as mom's yoga retreat. I haven't put money down on the date yet and she has, but it means more to me than to her. Offers to pay to move the retreat were turned down. Would I be the idiot if I keep my date and say that it's me or the retreat? Now for the comments. Commenter 1: Not the idiot. Your parents are being absurdly self-centered. The polite thing for them to do would be to reschedule or cancel the retreat without ever telling you so as not to impinge on your wedding planning excitement. Just to make sure, because this is honestly so over the top it's baffling to me. Is your mom attending the retreat, or is she leading it? Original poster attending. They have this retreat yearly, and there are also makeup dates for the classes she would miss. Commenter 2: Information: Is yoga retreat another word for rehab? Original poster: Nope. Actual literal yoga. She has no addictions except control over everyone around her. Commenter 3: Info: Is your venue even available so close to the date? What about your photographer and flowers and everything? I remember some of our stuff had to be done over a year in advance. Our main reason for the date was venue availability. They've been coordinating with free venues that nobody else considers, photographers who are looking to expand their portfolios, and other discounted services that don't fill quickly. Commenter 4: Was there a legit reason given why they wouldn't change their yoga plans if you covered the cost, effectively making it a wash? Original poster: When the offer was turned down, it was through a text stating I appreciate the offer, but it simply will not work. That date is off the table. Commenter 5: Not the idiot, but you also know she does this yearly, so it's not a huge surprise that she's doing it this year. You don't have to change the date if you don't want to, but you have to be prepared for them to not show up. I know I wouldn't cancel my yearly trip for a wedding regardless. I am very thankful ATM that my older two are ace and not romantically attracted to anyone, because I swear nothing ruins relationships like marriage and babies. Original poster: She's only gotten into yoga recently. This would be the first retreat she's gone on, and I had no idea she had anything like this planned. Commenter 6: Info: What does your fiancé say about this? Not the idiot. Don't change your date. It's important to you and the family you're building with your fiancé. Original poster: My fiancé loves our original date and is proud of me for standing my ground. My family has a pattern of walking over me and I have a habit of taking it. We're considering delaying the date of the wedding but eloping on our original date without telling anyone until the reception. What do you think? Is original poster Tay idiot? Now, on to the update. Hey everyone, it's been a while. I forgot my password, but a few people asked for updates on how my last post turned out. Unfortunately, a lot of you may not like the answer. Almost all of you said not to change the date, and to enjoy my time without them there. I followed half of that advice. I eventually did relent to my family and changed the date of the wedding. My fiancé, now husband, said that the date wasn't as important as my happiness, and the fighting with my parents was destroying that. Now after 6 months, we both wish we hadn't because it was useless. They still didn't show up. Not only that, but they convinced 90% of my family not to show up either. I ended up with only 4 relatives there in a crowd of about 100 guests. My mother claimed that I had been excluding her from planning by scheduling venue tours on days that my fiancé and I were both free, but I didn't realize she was working, and by finding my dress by surprise on a just here to look trip without her being there. They hadn't shown any interest in planning, so I mainly didn't want to bother them. To them, this was clearly a sign that you don't want us there. So they went out of town on the new date. In the end, narcissist mother still got her yoga, I still moved my date, and I still walked myself down the aisle. But my petty self did, in fact, strike back. I had an amazing time, and I made sure that I left obvious empty seats marked for them and told everyone the truth with a smile when they asked. The few family members that did show are now no longer speaking to them either, as are all of the friends who came. The only exception is my brother, who I'm pretty sure they asked to relay the details of the party to them. And even he has almost entirely cut them out due to how they've acted. I haven't spoken to my mother since about a month before the wedding, when she told me to get all of my old things out of her house. I speak to my father very rarely, and only over things like deaths in the family. My in-laws have basically taken me in as their own, and I'm far happier than I ever was in the nightmare of a family I grew up with. Life is good. Too long didn't read move the date of the wedding so mom could go to yoga, parents still didn't show, had a better day without them than I would have with them there. Finally cut contact with those narcissists. Now for the comments. Commenter 1, good for you. I'm sad you moved your date for them just so they could make another excuse on why they couldn't come. And the rest of your family sucks too. But now you know all the people you need to block and go NC with. Make sure you block them on social media too. They don't deserve to know anything about your life. Original poster. I changed my phone number right after the honeymoon, and they don't have the new one. My husband and I are also buying a house, so they won't be getting the new address. As for social media, I kept them unblocked just so they can see updates about me being happy without them. Commenter 2, did your relatives say no ahead of time? Original poster. Nope, just didn't show up. Never got an RSVP from any of them, except the verbal one from my father a week beforehand when he told me, well, looks like you're not willing to patch things up before the wedding. We won't be there. That's unfortunate. Commenter 3, did the opposite of our advice and it went poorly. Yup, checks out. Better luck next time. Original poster. Honestly, that's fair. I figured it wouldn't work out for me, but I really wanted to prove to myself that even if I bent over backwards for them it still wouldn't be good enough. I proved that, and now I have no doubt about cutting them off completely. As much as I wanted the old date, I'm still glad I moved it so that I didn't live my life with a what if. Commenter 4, do you have kids? Original poster. We're planning on kids down the road, and I'm planning on telling the kids that mommy's mommy and daddy were not nice people. And we don't want you to have to be around not nice people. Had been nicer so that you could have 2 sets of grandparents who get to know and love you, but your daddy's mommy and daddy love you enough for both sets. Commenter 5, what else did mom say? Original poster. Apparently I had left them out too much. Found my dress unexpectedly when my mother wasn't there, booked venue tours when my husband could go with me without asking if my mother could go, so it was clearly a sign that you don't want us there. They kept trying to tell me that if I involved them more they would show up. But my mother shows zero interest when I asked her about color schemes or if she'd come to my dress fittings, so eventually I realized they just didn't care and wanted something to complain about.